All right. Welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. I am so excited because this week's guest, I'm so excited. One of my favorite people. We started comedy together. Welcome, Youngmi Mayer.
Hi, Natalie.
How are you?
I'm so good. I miss you so much.
I miss you.
It made me sad when I saw your face because I realized we haven't hung out in so long.
I know. And I just feel like you bring me seeing your face brings me this sense of familiarity that I don't get in my life. And it just makes me want to cry, honestly.
Yeah. I remember we met doing open mics, and I remember the first time I saw you, it was like sheep surrounded by wolves. I was like, don't touch her. Don't talk to her, you creeps. They were just like those open mic loser guys were swarming you, and I was like, go away, back off.
You're fighting them off with a sword.
Right?
Those open mics were so fucking brutal. I remember I got you a job at Variety, the coffee shop that I worked at. And
yes. After I got divorced.
I thought
I'm so broke, Natalie.
It was so funny because you were like, wait a minute, I'm paying my babysitter more than I'm making an hour.
I was like, wait, how much do I get paid? And I was like, yeah, that's $5 less than what I'm paying my babysitter to be here. So I think I'm gonna have to pass. Yeah. That one day that I worked there cost me like $100 basically.
It cost me a lot more than that. No, it was great.
Yeah. My dignity.
All of my clothes are covered in coffee stains.
Oh my God.
But you have done so much over the pandemic. Your podcast, Feeling Asian, has really taken off. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's so weird. Because during the pandemic, I was like, well, I guess I can't perform, but in a good way, it was good for me because I'm really bad at stand-up comedy.
No, you're not.
So I was like, thank God, because when you're doing stand-up, you have this idea that you have to go out every night, right? And you have to do 3 shows a night or 3 mics a night or something to feel productive. But right. I feel like I should have just been sitting at home, writing actual solid jokes, which I wasn't doing because I was out performing all the time. So I think after the pandemic, I was I had time to just sit down and actually write a joke. So I think that was helpful.
That's such a solid point. I feel like people think that if they're just hanging or showing face or getting up saying the same material over and over, that's I mean, that's part of it, but a much bigger part is actually writing new material and sitting down and actually thinking about what you're going to say. And that's people really have a misconception about what it means to work.
Yeah, because it feels when I have to say to this day, when I'm sitting down and writing, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. And then later on, whatever will happen, I'm like, oh, okay, that's good that I did that, that was work and I'm getting paid for it. So
definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's literally what stand-up is. It's performing your writing. So
yeah.
That's an interesting point. I mean, are you still doing stand-up?
Yeah, I do. I still do stand-up. I'm very picky about it now because I feel like this is a big stand-up thing because they're never give up a show. If someone offers you a show, you do it. And but now, a lot of things happened during the pandemic, obviously not just to me, but the whole world. But there are things that now I just can't put up with. If I go somewhere and I feel unsafe, I'm not gonna do stand-up. And I feel like for women, we're constantly, if you're doing stand-up, you're constantly being told, oh, it doesn't matter if you feel unsafe. People mock safe spaces and stuff. It doesn't matter if you're a stand-up comedian and you're a woman, you have to do it. You gotta just man up or whatever, right? But now I'm if I don't feel comfortable, I'm not gonna do it. So I only say yes to situations where I know it's somebody I know and it's gonna be a positive environment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like I feel myself getting to the space where I don't think it's helpful for me to perform in a room of 7 people 3 hours from my house. And
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm finding myself turning down gigs like that, and it's making me question myself. But I know that that's not even helpful for me. In fact, that's kind of a hindrance to me and my self-worth and my act, and it's just not necessary.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. Like if you do your material like in a bar with 7 people and it doesn't work, then you start doubting your, like what you said, like your material, and it's just like that is a hindrance, you know?
Right. Like, of course, I'll continue to do shitty shows, but it's just like there's a certain point
Same.
where it's like I don't have to do every single shitty show that's offered to me.
Yeah, that's where I am at. But I feel like that's
Right.
kind of like I get uncomfortable even saying that because I feel like stand-up comedians will be like, "How dare you?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But also no, it's like I have literally driven 4 hours to do no minutes in front of nobody that I thought I was going to go up and gone home. Like I've busted my ass. Like I can turn down a shitty gig, but it takes a
yeah,
lot. It takes a lot to even do that for some reason because we're so trained to say yes to everything.
yeah. But also, I think it's smart for us to see the whole. I guess like the bigger picture is that the entire industry is so different, and like that whole like
Right.
style of like busting your ass and like doing 3 minutes in front of like 4 people, like that is sort of going away. You know, like nobody makes it big through that vein anymore, I think. So
Right. Like the old
yeah.
system is starting to break.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you feel like the new path is, or do you feel like there is a new path?
I mean, I have a lot of thoughts. I feel like, God, I feel like my friend said this, who was not a comedian, but he's like, I don't enjoy stand-up comedy anymore because everyone, like, let's say a generation ago, like a young, like very funny, like 22-year-old kid, that kid isn't doing stand-up anymore. They're like doing TikTok or their own YouTube channel. So it's the industry is being like like drained of talent too. Do you know what I mean? So so I do feel like the internet like path is, for better or worse, the new industry, right? And I'm not saying it's better, but like I can see like very talented young people on there who are actually talented. And so it does seem like that's where it's headed, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
it's interesting because it's one of the things that I love about stand up, and I grew up like loving theater. It's like I think that's where the crossover to stand up was for me, is like the live performance experience, like sharing that experience with like a live group of people. And I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that like
Yeah.
that you miss when you move online. It's very
Yeah.
isolated, and it's like
Yep.
you're not sharing that experience with a crowd. And I think that communal feeling, that like shared energy, is something that like I can't seem to you can't find online, and that's kind of why I like doing shows in person.
Yeah. Same. Also, the like stand-up comedians and what they do, that is such a skill. Like to be able to
Mhm.
do that in front of people, and the people online absolutely cannot do that.
Right,
And
it's
like
a different art.
we've seen them, like they'll be on like live shows because they have like 500,000 like TikTok followers, and then you'll
Yeah.
see them and I'll be like, oh, like you've never talked to a person in real life in your life. It's just like, and I do feel like all the like famous internet people that I know that I've met, I don't know that many, are, no offense, weird. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like they are kind of like weird in a way that you can tell that they just sit at home every day, and that's it.
it's so it's such a strange like in between weird time.
Yeah,
It's such a weird time for entertainment.
it is. Yeah, for sure.
um as speaking of this, I mean, this kind of like goes into, this podcast. I want to ask advice about my life. And this is like one thing that I've been struggling with. So I think you and I have both, like, I'm not even going to be modest here. We both developed a following over the last year or two. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really awesome because we're awesome. And I think I personally have been dealing with a lot of internet trolls. I've gotten a lot of like positive feedback about my work or about myself, but I also deal with like a significant amount of people saying really nasty things to me. And it's really hard to not let it get to me. It's really hard to, I almost feel like I almost, it outweighs every single nice comment sometimes. Like I can get like 200 comments saying I'm pretty, but like I have the 13 people saying terrible things about me, like right in front of that. And it's so hard to deal with. So it's like, do you deal with that? And like, what is your advice for that?
I definitely do. I would say, okay, so the thing about this is like such a huge topic. I feel like first of all, I want to say I'm sorry that you're dealing with that because I know how destabilizing that is. Because it's like, I started to deal with that more. I feel like when I started getting bigger on TikTok, and it's just like, oh God, what are my thoughts on this? I have to say, here's the thing. The trolls, what I noticed, sometimes like I'm bored and then I'll like fight with them. But what I noticed is all they want is that. Right. You know what I mean? Like they don't even mean what they say to you. Yeah. Like whatever the troll, like for me, like for example, like you and I were just like pretty like just people, whatever, right? Like maybe we have insecurities about ourselves, but the trolls are fishing to like find an insecurity that they think that we might have of ourselves, right? So for example, I'm like 36 and I talk about that all the time in my comedy. I'm a single mom, I'm divorced, I'm older, whatever. But I'm actually secure in my age. But trolls are assuming that because they think all women are the same or whatever, that I'm probably like really sensitive about being old or whatever. So they'll say things like that to me. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Bro, this doesn't hurt me, but I can see that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like when they're like picking on you, it's not even like, they're just trying to assume what you would be insecure about because they want to get like a reaction from you and they want your attention, you know? So I think that like has made it easy for me to be like, oh, like, you don't even believe this about me. You're just like trying to like trick me into interacting with you.
Right. Know? Like you don't even remember saying this, like half an hour later. The thing that's interesting, like I genuinely feel like there are not many people that could deal with the amount of hate and negativity that I deal with on a daily basis that I don't even share with people. And it's like, I also feel like it's hard for other people to understand. I walk around my life knowing that the people I interact with genuinely could not cope with the amount of negativity that I deal with on a daily basis.
I mean, I talk about this a lot and I'm like, it's like everyone wants attention. Everyone, that's just natural. We all have an ego. There's some part of every one of us that wants to be famous, right?
Right.
But truly, they don't understand that, it's like there are 100 positive messages and like 10 guys that want to rape the hole in your neck after they cut your head off. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, you want that? Okay. And then,
Sure.
Yeah, it's so intense. It is very intense. And
it's intense. I'm sorry that you're dealing with it too. I mean, I think that it comes with the territory. I do. Yeah. I think it's impossible to develop a following without that negativity. I think that you need to be polarizing to be successful. You can't please everyone. Like you need to have a niche. You need to have your own type of people. I don't want to please everyone. I really don't. I'm okay with people not liking me, but for some reason it is hard to deal with. I do need to find a way to mentally deal with this kind of stuff. Like I can't just, it gets to you subconsciously. Even if you read it, you go, yeah, whatever. Like somewhere in your brain, there's just like a file cabinet of all the shitty things that people say.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be giving advice, but I'm somebody that struggles with the same thing. So I don't even know, how to like, I guess that what I said before has helped me a lot. Just knowing that, oh, it's not even about me. It's just, it's like they want to upset me. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they want. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's like, oh, of course I was going to be upset. They were saying this specifically to upset me. So then it kind of makes me like, not think about it, but not really. I am up at 2 a.m. being like, that little fucking shit, I'll kill him. Stupid frat guy.
What's the craziest thing if you don't have to share, what's the craziest thing you've ever responded to?
I mean, to be honest, sometimes like the weird passive aggressive, like almost pseudo supportive message, it's like makes me more angry.
What do you
Like
mean?
something like, when they're like, if you were like, I'm sure you're like a good mom, but like something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's not even like fuck you, you whore, or whatever like that. I'm like,
Right.
okay, whatever. Like when it's just like stated in a way that they're trying to help you or something, or
Right.
like like how a lot of guys, if you're a comedian and you're a woman, they'll be like, if you worked on this a little bit more, it would be funny, like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Really fucks with me. I don't know why that bothers me.
Do you typically respond to it, or do you typically do you delete it? Do you block people? Do you like, how do you like deal with it?
I usually just delete and block now because
Mm-hmm.
of what I said. Like, sometimes I'll be like, ooh, this is a great comeback. And then I'll see that they respond, and like, then I'll be like, oh, all they wanted was for me to respond. And that makes me like, that feels worse than not winning an argument. Does that make sense?
It's funny
Like,
because I almost
yeah,
feel reluctant to talk about this publicly, because
yeah,
this is like the ultimate form of responding, right? This is like, I am truly responding to a troll comment by like
yeah.
having this conversation with you. So it almost feels like, is
Oh, you're
this,
letting them win or something because it's
yeah,
living in
like,
your
because I'm like,
head rent free.
right now, like, yeah, I'm like literally
Yeah,
like, this is what I'm asking you for advice for on my podcast. But it is like, it's a very real thing. And the only TV show that I watch is RuPaul's
yeah,
Drag Race.
yeah,
And it's really, I love that show for so many reasons. But one of the things that like that lives with me a little bit, and it always has, even before I dealt with this, is like, it
yeah.
really affects the people on that show when they deal with harassment online. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
seeing how deeply it affects them, like when RuPaul All Stars, which is when they come back after they've already been on a season, and like
yeah,
seeing them after they've coped with the feedback from a season. And like,
yeah,
some people are truly like, they are deeply wounded by the way that they're like, harassed online. And it's a very
yeah.
it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's great to see that in real life, kind of. Like, I could, not great, obviously. Like, I love it when other people are harassed. No, but like, yeah, for sure. Like, it's helpful to see that people that in your mind you're like, oh, they're on TV and they're so successful and strong, and they're wounded by it too.
Right.
It's nice to see that no one is like above being hurt by that.
Yeah.
But I also have to say, because I mean, you're like way younger than me, so I think maybe you went through this, but what I'm seeing now for kids, they get bullied and harassed like that, right? Online. And it's like, I think they've grown up with that. And so they're maybe more used to it. I don't know. Was that happening when you were like in school, like in middle school or high school?
It's funny because like, I specifically remember like in ninth grade on Facebook, there was like this group of girls that didn't like me. And one day, like at lunch, we all took like pictures on the photo booth on this one girl's computer, and she posted them on Facebook. And everyone made fun of me in the pictures on Facebook. Like, I specifically remember everyone making fun of me on Facebook, like all the group of girls. And so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
these girls were like the bane of my existence in high school. They really like made me
Yeah.
feel terrible. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I have dealt with that level of trolling.
Yeah.
I mean, the pictures are still up now. And the comments are still there. Like I could screenshot them and like put them in this episode.
I deleted Facebook, but I'm gonna go reinstall it just to troll her. Should I? I would.
Revenge troll.
How dare you? She's my friend. I have to say I do like I have been responding, and like in a way I like enjoy it too. I like enjoy like crushing. You know, the best thing is when you respond and they delete their comment because people are like piling on them. So good.
See, yes. I just want to get to the point where I have fans that are responding to the trolls. That's what I want. Like if I have someone responding back to the trolls being like, fuck off, that makes me like, if I just one person, that makes me feel so like, okay, someone has my back. That makes me feel so good. It undoes everything. It really does. I'm gonna be that person for you. I'm gonna go through all your comments today and I'm like, listen here, buddy. How much time do you have?
I have that started happening to me on TikTok. That's part of the reason why I stopped responding. Because I was like, I'll see a stupid comment and then 20 minutes later, like 18 girls are like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, it's wild.
Do you feel like there's people are meaner on TikTok than other platforms? Do you feel like one platform is ruder than the other?
Okay, so I think Twitter is super mean, right? And there's like a mob mentality there. But for some reason, I never get really attacked on Twitter. It's never happened to a point where, besides like some comment that's like mildly annoying. Same with Instagram. I've gotten maybe 2 comments that I really bothered me, period. TikTok, billions, just majillions of fucking the craziest, like, it's not even like you're old, no one wants to fuck you, which I get a lot. And then I'm like, to that I respond, okay, shut the fuck up. It's like a bunch of like 18-year-old boys being like, ew, who would want to fuck you? And I'm like, your dad, number 1.
Number 2, you. Yeah.
Number 2, you, because why would you even say that if you didn't want to? Anyway, but like there's so many weird, I don't know what it is about like TikTok. It really makes people like enraged and they really want to tell you, you know, something.
It's weird. I feel like TikTok is less personal than Instagram or something because or more anonymous. Like it's interesting. Yeah. I had a conversation with a friend and he said to me, he was like, think about how many YouTube videos you've watched in your life and think about how many of those videos you've commented on. And then think about how many of those comments were negative. And it's like, my answer is 0. And so the people that are commenting like negative things, I mean, it's the people that are on TikTok just like going in on people. There's something hurting them in some way.
Well, like I don't want to like, just to extend like what I was saying before about the trolls, like saying stuff about you and it's not even about you. There are always people that have like 0 followers, no user photo, you know? So it's like, it's like whatever, a fake account or somebody that just doesn't have anything to really offer. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're a troll and you want a lot of attention, right? There's a lot of people in this world who want attention. Like I said, everyone has an ego and that's natural, you know? And like for us, it means that we became comedians or performers. So we're trying to like receive that. And maybe people think that's like fucked up, but at least we're being honest about it and being like, I like attention and I'm going to try to do an art so you can give me attention for it, which I feel like is healthy. It's like, I'm going to develop jokes that are funny just so you can look at me. Like, or do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's a natural way to soothe your ego, which everyone has, right? But for some people, they're just not talented and they are sort of losers. And then they're like, how do I get attention? I'm not funny. I can't do anything. I have nothing interesting to say. I can't play music. I can't dance, whatever. So I'm just going to be a troll and I'm going to get attention from this hot comedian, Natalie, that would never fucking talk to me in a million years by saying some fucked up shit to her on Instagram. Right. And then she's going to get so mad and then she's going to talk to me because that's the only way in my life that anyone will pay attention to me. And that's like in essence, a troll, right? And that's sad. I feel sad for them because it's like, you probably are kind of like an okay person if you just focused your energy on doing something cool. You know what I mean?
It's weird because like I really don't care what these people think. I genuinely don't. Like I see pictures of them. I really don't care what they think. I don't think that it's valid. It's more just like the feeling of reading so many negative comments about yourself. So you just start to get this like lingering sensation in your head. You start to feel like when you put out content, you're expecting it to be received negatively. Like even recording this with you now, I'm already thinking of things people are going to say that are negative in response to things. And it's not healthy for me to be thinking that way about my own work.
Honestly, I know how you feel, but I feel like there's something in my brain, I don't know what happened, that I'm able to compartmentalize that now, where I'm just like, oh, like this isn't real. You know how everyone's like, go outside and touch some grass? It's like, okay, I'm gonna turn this off and just go outside and touch some grass. Like somehow, I think maybe just because I've been online so long. Like doesn't that,
I like that. Go outside and touch some grass. Right. It's not real. And like, yeah, that's actually, that's nice because it's not real. And it's like when you perform for a crowd, like personally, when I do stand up, there could be I could be performing in a theater with 1,000 people and there can be one guy sitting there with his arms crossed frowning and I'll be focused on him the entire time.
Yeah, it's just natural. You know, but the thing is, Natalie, I think, you know, I know you were saying, oh, you'll get 200 positive comments and then the one bad one will bother you. I have to say, just objectively, you are great. You know what I mean? Like you're funny, you're talented, you're amazing. And the positive comments are true.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. It's so hard. Why does that one fucking troll guy stick with us? But that's what I'm saying. They know it will. That's why they're doing it. You know what I mean?
Right. You're like, I mean, even now I'm like, I'm fueling that. But no, it's true. It doesn't matter. And it's true that like the more success you get, the more it's a sign of success, honestly.
Yeah. Don't let the haters get you down, Natalie.
No, the haters show you that you're doing something right.
Oh God.
Okay. So I guess go outside, touch some grass. Don't pay attention to it. I mean, what are 3 things I can take away from this conversation?
I would say, I think what would I say? Yeah. Just block and delete. That's what I'm gonna say. Block and delete. Never even think about it anymore. There's literally no reason to engage with them. I have this thing where I'm like, okay, here's this troll saying this shit to me. This person couldn't even make eye contact with me in real life. Why would I? Oh, you know what? I feel like I actually have heard people talking. Here's some other people's advice.
Oh,
okay. I think Dolly Parton said, the great Dolly Parton said, what other people think of me is none of my business.
My therapist says that all the time.
Because it's not even a reality. Really? Your therapist says that?
He says it like every week.
Does he say it's Dolly Parton or did he pretend that he came up with it?
He didn't pretend he came up with it, but he did not say it was Dolly Parton.
Classic man, not giving a woman credit. It's Dolly Parton, you asshole.
To be fair, he does quote Katy Perry and Britney Spears, and he gives them credit.
This therapist sounds amazing. He's a feminist.
Yes.
And then there was this other advice that I heard once that was really good, but I forgot it.
No.
God, I'll try to think of what it was, but it was along the same lines. It's like, it's not reality, right? So who cares? It's somebody's reality that I don't even like. I would never even talk to them in real life. Why would I give them any room in my head, right?
Right. It's so funny because it's like the reason I'm doing this podcast is like I feel like I'm not vulnerable enough on stage. I'm not vulnerable enough on social media. And this podcast is like, I'm really trying to like have my personality, like be more of myself. But this podcast is like, I'm really being myself. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, but that makes sense because like I feel like this is something, you know, like we've sort of touched on this, and I think this is part of the reason that we were friends. Because like if you're a woman and you're like considered even like medium attractive, your life is hard. And like I'm not like, you know, like that, I know that sounds so bad, but it's like it's hard because like men are always fucking with you and they're always trying to make you feel bad about yourself or something, you know, or people in general, you know what I mean?
I'm actually,
And
yeah, sorry.
yeah. What were we saying?
No. What were you saying?
I lost my train of thought. Wait, what did you say right before I started talking?
Vulnerable.
So then you have to like have this like harsh like bitch shield up all the time. I'm a bitch, right? Because like the second you show any weakness, then they're like, oh, you don't like your body, like you look stupid, like, you know, like whatever. So you always have to like act very strong. So I totally understand what you're saying. It is scary.
I'm finding that women are, I'm finding that women are worse than men. And I know that's like a controversial thing to say, but I'm finding that like women are being much meaner to me than men.
That's a really good point. I think I always talk about this, but internalized misogyny is something that nobody really talks about, you know, because you hear a lot of like, oh, men are sexist, but what they don't understand is a lot of women are sexist, you know. It's like they believe in the same things, and they, especially like if you're like pretty and like, you know, like you are like a model and you're into these things, like there's a lot of internalized misogyny there. And especially if you're a woman that's dating like cishet men only, and that's, you're like a straight woman and that's the men that you interact with, all of a sudden you become the agents of their sexism. Do you know what I mean? And like that's like really sad too, because it's like in a lot of ways that they're believing the shitty thing about women, like the commodification of women, right? And then they're like using that against other women. Like I'm assuming that if like the straight women that are mean to you are, a lot of it's like this idea that, oh, my boyfriend's gonna find her attractive, and that makes them feel like, oh, our only value as women is our attractive or how men perceive us, right? And so now I hate this woman because she has higher social value in the eyes of men than I do. Do you know what I mean? Like, sorry,
Right.
is that getting too like?
No, please. I like this.
And so, yeah, so like I feel like internalized sexism, internalized misogyny is like something that a lot of people don't like understand. They're like, oh, well, if you hate women that are mean, you're saying, oh, you hate all women because they're mean to you. That's sexist. Like, no, like I dislike women that use misogyny like against me. Like it's like taking the knife out of a man's hand and using that knife to stab me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
yes.
I don't hate women. I hate women that see me as the sexist, competitive threat, right?
Yeah, right. It's like if I 100%, it's like if I it has 100% to do with the way that we're taught to value ourselves based on our looks and based on the way men value us, right? Which is on our looks.
Yeah. Cause like you are like, you know, you're my friend, you're a nice person, and you're like fun to hang out with. If any woman online hates you and has no idea who you are, it must be based on your appearance, right? And what does that mean? It means that she feels that you are appealing to the male gaze, and that's scary to her. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's weird because I feel like a lot. And you know, the other thing that I don't like about this conversation, and one of the reasons that like I haven't had this conversation is because like I don't want to victimize myself. Like I am a very privileged person. Like I'm a very lucky person. I am in a very good position. And so it feels uncomfortable to like publicly vocalize like a complaint about something or like vocalize a struggle. And I also never want to be seen as a victim because I'm not. I'm like I'm a strong person, but I do like want to talk about things that like bother me or that I need help with or that I'm going through. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's a strange, it makes me uncomfortable to even like talk about like feeling harassed online, because it's like, all right, well, it's like, shut up, bitch, you're harassed online, like, okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
like I lost my foot or so. It's like, okay, whatever,
right.
but I feel like that is even like misogyny, because I feel like a lot of people get mad at women, that are like you, like successful and attractive, and then people are like, oh, stop complaining, bitch. And it's like, actually, this is getting harassed online is traumatizing. And like what you said earlier, like you could not handle what I'm getting online. It's fucking psycho.
It's
And
psycho.
I have gotten the psychoest DMs, and you could not handle that. So shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
I
But like,
mean, I could make a
yeah,
fucking book and people would think I made it up.
yeah.
They would think I made it up.
Oh my god. Well, the other thing about being a victim, and the thing that you said, like, oh, other people have it worse because I have a lot of privilege. Like, I always use this analogy. This is my now I'm like in advice, but I'm gonna give Natalie advice now.
That's my podcast.
No, I'm like, my life is in shambles. I'm like, if you want advice from me, broke fucking almost 40 person, I I don't even know what I'm doing. I can't pay my rent, but this is my advice to you. Now I forgot the advice.
No.
Not again. Wait, what was I? Oh, the victim. This is what I always say. So when somebody is like, somebody's like, oh, shut up, you can't complain because I have it, other people have it way worse. That is total gaslighting, and that's emotional manipulation, because it's like, basically, like, think about, let's say you lost an arm, like in an, I don't know, you got hit by a car, your arm fell off, and then you're sitting there being like crying because it's like, I don't have an arm, right? And every time you said that, somebody that's missing two arms would show up and be like, shut the fuck up, you can't complain, I lost two arms. And you're like, okay, but that doesn't mean my arm's gonna grow back now because you lost two arms. I'm still missing one arm. And I'm not being a whiny bitch. I'm just saying I fucking lost my arm. Can I just say that?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel like I always look at it that way. Like, I'm not saying I'm the biggest victim in the world, but I've been through this hardship, and I'm gonna talk about it. And I'm allowed to have room for that. It doesn't take away attention from the person that's lost two arms that I've lost one. I'm talking about my one arm. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, it's such a weird thing to say to people.
It's a weird society where now people have gotten very competitive with victimhood, and it's very strange because I never thought victimhood was something to be proud of, but now it seems like it I don't know why it is, but like for some reason it is. I don't know.
I mean, I think there's valid people that have been victims of things that are important for them to talk about.
Of course, yeah.
I feel like it's very strong for, certain things, like, like when you're a victim of like sexual assault, that's like very scary. And that's like, I'm really always like so blown away by the bravery of those people that come forward. But I do know what you mean, because I feel like there's like this world of like fake victimhood that people get a lot of attention for, and it's protected because if you say that, then you sound like the asshole. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't even touch them. They're just like, I'm gonna say that, and then they like. I feel like because social media rewards you for certain things, I feel like sometimes I'll follow someone online and they'll like get deeper and deeper into the spiral of like putting out this trauma just to get more attention because they got the initial dopamine hit, and then they have to get more and more into it, which I feel like I found myself falling into a little bit too. You know what I mean? Like all these internet things. The internet is like kind of warping all our brains, so I totally understand that. But
it's so I mean, it's crazy. I think that the internet has just fucked up, like it has fucked up our chemical responses to things, like even trolling. I mean, if they are probably getting a chemical response from writing the comment, and they're probably there's people probably addicted to trolling the way that we might feel addicted to getting a like, you know what I mean? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
It's probably a very similar feeling that people get.
Yeah. Exactly. Then they just like are professional online trolls.
It's impressive.
Good for them, actually. I'm coming around. I like them now.
You know
I'm
what?
impressed.
I want to invite them to my birthday party.
What if you had a birthday with just your trolls? That'd be kind of funny.
It's so funny because like you know what? I want to comment back. Like, I think we'd really be friends in person. I think if you got to know me,
I feel like you would like me.
if you met my mother.
Yeah, that's funny. God. Ugh. So many weird psychological layers with what's going on online and the internet.
It's like for the first time in my life, I truly feel like I can hang out with people and walk away and not think about what do they think of me. You know, for the first time, I actually feel good enough about myself. And I feel like I don't overthink my social interactions. And then come the trolls. I'm like,
and then oh my God. Wait, what's the okay, if you don't mind sharing, what's like the most crazy intense mean message you've ever got? Like, if you don't, the one that you don't mind sharing, like just so the listeners know what you're dealing with.
I mean, I feel okay. Well, what I feel is that me sharing something that bothers me is gonna make it like multiply.
Right. Yeah. So don't.
But I will tell you when I because it's gonna make it. But nothing bothers me. I don't even know what are you talking about? It bothers me when people tell me I'm beautiful.
Yeah. Stop saying that.
Stop saying it.
Also, I have to say the other thing with the internet is that I feel like a lot of people are just on the internet and they have sort of boring lives, and that's it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for what helps with me is like, oh God, I'll just get like some sort of troll message, and I'll be like out with my friends, like drinking at like a nice bar, and I'm like, my God, look at my fucking hot friends, like one's a model, you know, like I'm just like, look at us, we're so fucking cool, like this troll online, what the fuck's nothing, there's nothing that's going on in this person's life, like why do I even care, you know?
I do feel like it's an adjustment period for people, like you must like adjust to getting everything and then become numb to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I'm like kind of coming out the other end though. I have to say it's been like a long time since anything's really bothered me.
That's amazing.
I can't even. Yeah. I think at one point you just like.
I think so. Over the pandemic, I probably gained like 15 pounds, and and there was like a bunch of comments and threads about how I got fat, and
my God,
it was like there was so much, and honestly,
so sorry.
It was the exact push I needed to lose weight. I mean, I am skinnier than I have ever been. And
I was gonna say you look really skinny. I was like, what do you mean you gained? Yeah.
No, I mean I'm skinnier than I was before the pandemic. So, but no, but it's like it's
thanks, trolls.
You guys, it's the best workout plan. A lot of people say like, you know, a lot of people have messaged me actually, like people have been like, how did you lose weight? Like, you know, what was your workout plan? What's your diet? And like, I usually just tell them like a breakup, and that's like a big part of it too. Like going through a breakup, I feel like you lose a lot of weight, but you know, it's also, when you are ridiculed for gaining weight, it's like, you know, it's very helpful. So
bullying by strangers.
Someone was like, well, Natalie, this was just the push you needed.
Oh God, they're so fucked up. I have to say that's so fucked up because like I'm your friend and I didn't even notice that you gained weight or lost weight during the pandemic. Like I wouldn't notice, you know what I mean? And I feel like, oh, that's another thing my therapist said. My therapist, because I, you know, like I have like weight, like eating disorders and stuff. My therapist was like, okay, so what? You gained 10 pounds. And she was like, nobody notices that.
Right.
Except people that are horrible. And you don't want them in your life anyway. That's what she said. She's like, you're like, who do you love in your life? Like your friends, right? Or like your partner. Do they notice? Or do they like, does your value to them lower when you gain weight? No. You know what I mean? And if you do have a boyfriend that all of a sudden doesn't like you as much because you gain weight, that's a horrible person and you should break up with them. Like, that's a sign, it's a gift.
You know what? I totally understand that. And I totally, for me, weight has never been about other people. Like, I know I just said like, oh, that pushed me to lose weight. And like, yeah, but also like, I genuinely feel unhappy with my body when I'm not a certain weight. And it really isn't like my ex, he was like, I like you at this weight. Like, I think you look the best at this weight. And I was like, I don't care. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah,
I do feel like, especially like I can identify with having like a form of an eating disorder. Like, I feel like it's never about what, it truly is never about what anyone else feels about your body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you too, because it's like, after my therapist, now that I was like, we're trying to heal with therapy. Now, after she said that, I was like, I don't care. I look fat. I don't give a shit. I'm going to extreme starvation myself. That's so unhealthy. Please don't take my advice.
No, it's, yeah.
But that's just like working on yourself, I guess. But no, I understand what you were saying. I don't think that it's bad that like, I know you were joking too, like about the trolls and like being skinny, but I don't think that's bad, but it's just like who do you know in the world that could handle a bunch of, not just one, but a thread of people talking about how you gained weight? No one can handle that. Are you
I know.
Jump off a building. Natalie is stronger than all of you, is what we're trying to say.
Thank you. You know what? I like, it was, but you know what? If you do gain weight, it did make me feel so much better when I gained weight to buy new pants, because I was just like, I was squeezing myself into my old pants. I started wearing my ex's pants. I was like, this is not what they meant by boyfriend jeans. Like it, it really made me feel like fucking garbage. And like when I went to the Levi's store and I just bought a bunch of like new pants and the whatever new size I was, that really made me feel like significantly better. Like gaining weight's not always a bad thing, but like it's important that you like make sure you find clothes that fit you if you do, and like treat your body well in whatever shape that it's in, and don't like neglect yourself just because you're unhappy with the way that you look.
That's such good advice. Yeah, just be comfortable. It's fine. Wait, can I ask you about your relationships? Do you talk about that on the podcast? Because I know we haven't seen each other, so we don't have to talk about it now. We can talk about it in real, like, personal.
Yeah, we can talk about it in real life. And this is like the first episode.
What?
This is like one of the first episodes, so I don't know what I talk about.
Oh, okay.
We're setting the form here.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna ask you about your relationship. This is the end of the podcast.
Wait, what you're asking me about? What relationship?
No, just like your relationship status.
Oh yes, you can ask me about my relationship status. Of course. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, like what? So what's going on?
Oh yes, I am currently in a relationship with Louis,
the comedian.
Louis J. Gomez.
I don't think I've ever met him in real life.
He's
but I do know of him.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And that is my current relationship status.
Nice. Congrats. Different the last time I saw you.
Well, I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I feel like the last time I saw you was when we had a conjoined birthday party.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And you'll never believe what happened. It's funny because the night that we had Youngmi and I had a conjoined birthday party, I wore this dress from opening ceremony.
Oh my God.
I told you the story about the dress.
I think I remember the story. Yeah. Tell them the story. It's funny.
Okay. So I auditioned for America's Got Talent and I was like, oh, I want to wear like a fun dress. So I went to opening ceremony and I got this like funky dress. And just because I'm way too chatty, I told the guy at the store, I was like, I'm going to wear this to my America's Got Talent audition. Whatever. I guess like I wore it and I was like, all right, I'm gonna return it now. So I go back to the store. I still has the tags on. I go to return it and he goes, you can't return. And so it was a different person at the store. They go, you can't return this. You wore it already. And I'm like,
no.
what are you talking about? They're like, we have photos of you on social media wearing this dress. First of all, I don't know how they found my name. I don't know how they found the pictures of me wearing the dress. I was enraged.
Wow.
I was enraged. So I left. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to a different location. So I go to the opening ceremony downtown. This was the one that used to be like in the
hotel.
In the hotel. Yeah.
Base. Yeah.
So I go to the one downtown. I asked them and I like try to return it. And the girl's like, there's a problem. I need to get a manager. She gets a manager and she's like, there's photo documentation of you wearing this dress. I mean,
what is their system?
It was
like, how did she puts your name in? It's like all those pictures pop up.
I have no idea. She's like, there's photographic evidence of you in the dress. I don't even know how they had this. And at the time I had probably like 5,000 followers on Instagram. It wasn't like anyone like, and then so I'm like, all right, fuck this. I'm going to sell the dress on eBay. So my ex-boyfriend, he was very into eBay. So he had his eBay set up and he's like, puts the dress up on eBay for like half of what I paid, but I'm like, whatever. So, and this was after I had worn it to our party. He puts it on eBay. Someone buys it.
Yeah.
And it gets lost in the mail. It gets lost in the mail. eBay doesn't have our back. We have to pay them back for the dress. Okay. We have to give them a refund. And so we wind up just losing the dress in the mail and it just exists somewhere out there in the world.
Oh my God. I didn't know the end of that story. That is amazing. I can't believe this cursed dress.
It was cursed.
The universe wanted you to keep that dress, Natalie.
It really did. To
you. You fucked everything up.
And you know what? The first photo that my ex's sister ever took of me was driving home from that birthday party. I was so drunk, I threw up in a plastic bag in the backseat of her car, and then I hung the plastic bag out of the window. And she just took a photo of me with my head against the window and the plastic bag of my throw up hanging out the window. And she always sent me that picture. And that was that night in that dress. So
that's amazing. Wait, are you close with your ex still, or was it like a bad breakup? Is that too personal? Sorry, I don't know.
No, it was, unfortunately, it was not a good breakup. I regretfully, I wish that we ended on better terms.
All right. Well, I'm not going to ask about that. First ever episode. Natalie gets real.
What makes this the 13th episode? Oh, it's okay. No one's gonna listen anyway, right?
Your trolls are gonna listen. They're obsessed with you.
I don't know. Is anyone gonna listen to my podcast?
That's how I feel about my podcast. People listen.
It's the number of people, like when I put out like, oh, I have a new podcast, the number of fucking people that I made a mental note. I shouldn't even say this, of people that didn't say congratulations, but said, hey, I'd love to be a guest. I made a mental
oh my God. Gross. I'm so sorry, Natalie. No, nobody asked me that because I have an Asian podcast. I'm like, you have to be Asian. Actually, white people have asked me to be on the podcast before, and I was like, it's like about eight, and then this guy made a joke like, that's racist, and I ripped him apart. I was like, bro, you are a white man. You can be on every single other thing in this world. Like, can we just have one podcast for Asian? Just one, bro. Like, I was just like, oh.
Wait, so you mean I can't do your podcast? No, I'm kidding. What would you talk about? You could.
Natalie, you definitely could. I actually had a white person on recently because it was like my friend.
No, were all the listeners like, what the fuck? We don't want this.
No, it was my friend John, but he is really interesting because his grandfather is like one of the most famous professors of East Asian studies in America. Like he's one of the first people that like came up with all the like whatever studies. So that was why kind of, but people loved him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Your podcast is fucking killing it.
Yeah, it's done really well. I think it's it's really like, I'm really proud of it because it's interesting, and we're very honest on it. And I feel like for me, because I know you were talking about how you don't like being vulnerable, for me, I have this defense mechanism where I call it like, you know, when you see a dog, like a submissive dog, and like as soon as another dog comes, they like lay on their back and show their stomach. I feel like my defense mechanism isn't to be like a harsh bitch. Mine is to be like, I'm a loser and this is everything that's wrong with me. And you know what I mean? Like, here's all my trauma. This is I did something wrong. I'm always doing something wrong. And I immediately like tell everybody that. And I think people like that on the podcast because I'm just like, I'm a loser. Like somebody DM'd me and he was like, I love listening to your podcast because everyone else's podcast is like them being a famous, successful person, but you're just kind of a loser like me. I was like, thanks for this nice DM, bro.
It's interesting. I relate to that. I always used to feel like it took me so long to realize when I started dating someone, I didn't have to tell them every bad thing about myself on the first date. I thought on the first date, I had to tell them every bad quality that I had so that they just knew and then we can move forward. It's like, that is the worst idea ever.
Also, I feel like it creates a dynamic where they're not now like, oh, you're the loser and I'm cooler than you or something. It's like not
right.
Toxic. It is toxic.
But then again, so like when my ex and I broke up and I started dating, like before I started dating Lewis, I suddenly felt like, okay, I'm the person with red flags now. Like I started feeling like, I was like, I have nudes online. Like I think there was one other thing that I felt like was a red flag, but it's like, these are things that and I have my ex's name on me or like stuff like that. And I was engaged, right? I was engaged and I have nudes online. And these are things that I have to tell someone at some point. And it's kind of like, I felt like I went on 4 dates with this guy and I was like, I don't know how to tell him these things because these are literally, these are red flags. I'm a person with red flags now. Cause that's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't think those are red flags for me, but I can definitely see how they would be for other people. But like,
right.
But I've dated, I'm sure you have too. I've dated people with like massive red flags, but they were cool. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I mean, red flags are my specialty.
Me too. I call it red flags great adventure when I like start seeing somebody with like 90 million I'm gonna spend the summer in Red Flags Magic Mountain or whatever. Really going for a ride.
Sorry, I know I've kept you for so long. I'm gonna keep you for like 5 more minutes. What's the biggest red flag that you've been like, I don't care?
Oh, that I ignored? Oh my God. I think I've told you this. I don't know if I don't know who's gonna listen to this, but this is a huge red flag and it should have made me never see this person again. But like I slept with this comedian and the first night right after sex, literally like lying naked in bed, he said, oh, you're not very funny. And I knew at the moment he said it, I knew he was negging me. Like it's like the troll thing. Like I don't believe that he truly believed that. Right. I knew that he was doing it to fuck with me. And then we had the day after, I was like, wow, it was crazy. Cause like in the moment I couldn't, this is what I said. When he said that, I said, you're funny on stage, but you really suck at Twitter. And your Twitter is more important than you doing a bar show for 3 people because you can get work. Your Twitter really sucks. And he went off the handle. He was like, that's like really like fucked up that you would say that. And then I was like, what I think is fucked up? You just told me that I'm not funny. And I was like, okay, sure. And then I just told you suck at Twitter. And then you got mad at me. And I was like, that's fucked up. And he was like, yeah, I agree. I'm sorry. I apologize. And I shouldn't have said that. And I was like, no, you shouldn't have said that. Because how psychologically fucked up is it? Not even, let's say he does think I'm not funny, which is fine. Like everyone is, you have right to your opinion. What kind of person says that to somebody right after having sex with them naked in bed? That is some vulnerable ass timing. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're literally emotionally and physically naked. That is a red flag. I don't care if he thinks I'm funny or not. You don't say that at that moment.
Right.
That's weird. That is fucked up. Reddest flag ever. And I don't know, but I did see this person for a little bit after that. And everything after that was like, along the same lines, like all my issues with this person, you know.
I see that's a good point, that red flags are usually like
Yeah.
a personality thing. A red flag is not necessarily like, oh, they like this thing happened in their past. A red flag is like what they're doing in the
Yeah.
moment and how they're treating you
Yes.
in the moment.
Yes. Like you're saying nudes online, like how is that? For me, that's not a red flag because like
Right.
there's there's a multiple reasons somebody would have nudes online. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. And like none of those reasons bother me. But somebody saying somebody might say something to you and it'll sound like super innocent. But then like when you like, I always like obsess about the root, like where thoughts come from, right? Like where is that, what place is that kind of thinking coming from? And that
Right.
is like the red flag thing to me.
Yes. Like who they
Right?
are as a person and not like who they've been or something like,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
But like a red flag is you thinking that my nudes online are a red flag. How about that?
Yeah. No, that's true. That is a red flag.
Yeah.
That you're actually 100% right. We should all put nudes online just to make sure that we're protected from these crazy men who think that that's bad.
Exactly.
That's
Everyone just take
Yeah.
a picture of your tits, post it, pretend
them
someone else
online.
did it, and then see how everyone acts.
That's my advice to you, Natalie.
Well, Youngmi, it was so amazing talking to you. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything coming up? Any other thing you want to say?
So I have a podcast, Feeling Asian podcast. You can follow on Instagram and TikTok. My social media is YM Mayer. My TikTok is Youngmi Mayer. What do I have coming up? I mean, I have a bunch of stuff coming up, but I don't know when this is gonna come out. So come see my show. I have a show September 16th and October 28th at Caveat. Yeah, that's it.
Yay. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun.